Hello everybody, how is it going? Alright, so far we have talked in depth about both strings and variables. So now we are going to shift our focus towards numbers, which are equally as important in JavaScript. Numbers are used in all types of calculations and programming. Our score in a video game, adding the total of purchases, seeing how much money you owe. These are all examples of how numbers are used in programming. First, let's talk a little bit about integers before we can move on. A whole number is what we call an integer. Here are some examples of what integers will look like. 55, 78, 33333, 9, 67. All these are all examples of whole numbers, or what we call in programming integers. Next up are floating point numbers. Floating point numbers are the same as integers, except that they have a decimal place in them. 0.1, 0.55555, decimal 23 are all examples of floating point numbers. Lastly, we have scientific notation. We can even use scientific notation for calculations in JavaScript. Here are some examples, but keep in mind that isn't used that much, and don't worry if this makes much sense. You can use this just as reference. Here is an example of how we can assign a number to a variable of each of the different types of numbers that we just discussed. Do you notice something different here than when we assign variables to strings? The main difference to notice is that we assign a number to a variable, and when we do, we don't use quotations, otherwise our number will be treated like a string. Later on in this course, you will learn how to convert a string to a number, but for now, I want you to focus on the difference between the two and how we assign them to variables. Strings, we use quotations. Numbers, we just type the number in and leave out the quotations. That's the main thing that is important for now. Okay, so once that makes sense for you, we can move on to the next course, and we're going to be working more with numbers.